ratings were running high today in Ferry Valley as the threat of thermonuclear extermination had been announced.
There's a extermination. I've come to get my supplies. Oh, back it up, hamster, you bloody moron. No, I need some supplies.
Oh, do you hear that? What's that noise?
Oh.
Antler Games had a huge hit last year on Kickstarter with Saltlands, a game of post-apocalypse survival and mayhem. Well, now they're back with a new game, and this time we're going into the bunkers deep underground as the bombs are dropping on us. And they've taken some furry friends with them. We're of course talking about Critters Below. Now, so Critters Below is a game of bunker survival, as we've said, and it's got some really interesting... Oh, by the way, we're in the house because I know the whole point of this game is it's got like hidden information. The idea is you're in the bunker and it's dark and you can't see anything. So I thought, brilliant, let's get a flashlight, let's film in the dark. With Critters Below. What's Critters Below, you may ask? This is rubbish. Yeah, that didn't work. Yeah, we're not filming in the garage either because it's really cold out there. This is ridiculous. It's fucking nuts up out here. So, they come in a tin. How cool is this? A Critters Below tin. And there's 2 tins available, and each of them has enough in there to play up to 4 players. Put both tins' contents together, and you can have an 8-player game, which is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so here is the basic setup for a game of Critters Below. Across the top here we have the condition cards. They're all the various wounds and horrible stuff that happen to us, and every action we take will always result in us taking conditions. And they are added to our condition hand there, which I will go into in a second. If we ever receive 3 of these in wounds throughout the game of 3 of one type, then it's game over for us. So you've got to be aware of that. There's ways to stop that, and there's ways to gain it, and there's ways to give it to someone else. So there we go. What else we got? So of course here we got the 3 main rooms in the facility, the shelf of items, and 2 items that we always start in our hand. Everything, as you can see, is hidden. We're in the bunker and it's pitch black. We can't see what we're doing. So we have to use items that will give us light sources to allow us to look at these cards. Other than that, there's the wound card we start with. These 2 vigor in our hand. What we can do on a turn is we can take up to 3 actions. At least 1 we have to take, the others are optional. Whenever we take an action, it's either our character or flipping a card. We will then follow the icons on the top of the card and they will dictate what happens. Most of them, as you can see here, have an icon for one of these conditions, and there's an additional amount of then we will gain of those conditions into this starting condition hand. So we could, for instance, use our Bat's ability, our character's ability. He will receive a condition for doing that, which goes there, and then it allows us to look at 3 cards, which we'll do. We'll flip these 3 here. So what we've got there, and only we would be looking at this, no one else would see this, there's 3 types of things. There's a landmine there, for instance. Should we flip that as an item to use, that will give us 5 wounds. So that's not really nice. We don't really want to be messing with that. The gas mask, however, is quite handy. That is an equipable item, and it will then shield us against that damage for the remainder of the game. We've got that item. So these are quite handy to have to flip and take, and then you keep them on you equipped to dodge damage as you go through. And at the end here we got, looks essentially like some medicine or something, which will give us 2 vigor and also give us 1 of these cards, which are very helpful. They will go into this condition deck, which, as we've discussed this condition deck a lot, let's go into how that works. In the game, as we take actions, we will gain all various different wounds conditions into our hand, mostly starvation, and so we end our turn. This deck is shuffled, a damned good shuffle, and then at random we'll pick 1 card, which will be this card. So that's a radiation wound. When that card is then shown, that is added to our permanent wounds down there. Any other cards that match that in this set come out, and that's us done. If we should pull a vigor out, all the other vigors will leave this hand, but the vigors don't count as a wound. So they're essentially a free pass that turn. And that's how the game works. That's pretty much it. Top here we've got facility room, so this room is a rest room we can look at, so that will cost us to have 1 starvation, but we will gain 2 vigors into that thing. It's a very good way of diluting your hand for that. This one will allow us to take starvation to look at all the cards which are available in there. At the end here is for 2 starvation, we can refill this deck, so every card what's left fate up and used, is added, that leaves spaces on this deck. It's not refilled. That's how we refill that. This being a game of hidden information, obviously the key to it is discussing what's going on, and you can talk and team up with buddies and help them up and do whatever you like to do. To help you in this, we've got this set of cards here which will allow us to point out where we say items are. So we may look at this and go, well, that's a light source, so that's what I'm going to do from my own memory, and for my fellow bunker dwellers, they can then start pointing them in the direction of where stuff is. However, we found nasty old Mr. Landmine here. There is nothing in the world stopping you putting an icon on there. For instance, now we're saying that's a food source. If some trusting soul on their turn decides to believe that that's a food source and switches it, boom. Ah, the end of the game. Don't miss that. So yes, I was going to tell you about the end of the game. So once everyone's had their turns, there's this whole turn of voting. And there's cards run along the top of the board, which I've not shown you yet, but there'll be a graphic probably down here. And I'll show you. And it goes in a big run. And the first is the detonation of the bombs, and then it moves across there, and there's arrows heading upward. So what you're doing is you're voting to see if you're going to leave the bunker or not. And everyone has a vote on that. And if you vote to leave, then you will do. However, the damage of the effects that are down here, the longest pointing arrow, they'll affect everyone going out there. There's two ways of victory conditions. You either run all the way through to the very last 7th card, and anyone left standing after that wins, or when you vote to leave and you take less than 3 damage during that point in time, then you've won. That's it, really. So yeah, that, you get it. There's a whole page on Kickstarter. There's a whole thing. Go to the page, the Kickstarter page, and just read all that stuff. That's essentially how the game plays. But there's a couple of points that need to be made. I mean, there's a lot of these type of games out there. There's Avalon, Secret Hitler more recently came out. They've all kind of follow a similar path of this, trying to work out who's who and all this, who's the traitor. This muddies the water further and has some really cool, interesting mechanics that it throws in there just to make this actually stand apart from those games. Number one, there's the whole light source thing of you having to find light source to look at items, and there's the option then for negotiation and teaming up with people, or as I say, betraying them, laying traps for them, and that alone is kind of cool. On top of that, the whole condition deck and the gaining of these horrible conditions is like this sort of perverse reverse deck building thing where you're building this horrible hand of horrible shit that's going to happen to you that really you don't want to happen, and so you'll kind of find yourself this sort of meta game of trying to add the vigor into there, or these healing cards into there to trying to dilute it down so you're not going to succumb to the radiation sickness or the poison you've got. Really cool stuff. The theme and the mechanics are nicely layered together like a lovely jam sandwich. Everything works like it, like the light source, the go into the pedal room to pedal your bicycle to get some more light. Well, you're taking starvation, you're getting worn out to do that, and then you can look at these cards. All the little finishing touches on there are really kind of cool. I love the art design again. Like Saltlands, it's that crisp, clean look to it with that 1940s aesthetic, which just kind of works. The idea of you being in that nuclear bunker and the bombs have hit and you're hiding down there in the dark with no food and slowly starving to death or succumbing by radiation sickness. That's kind of just like a bleak but entertaining sort of conundrum to pop people in there. And then obviously after the initial turn actions, we got that end of round turn where there's that vote for, are we going to venture out into the wasteland? And even that becomes a meta game on its own of, how you got the shields? Have you got radiation suits? Have you got gas masks? Has your friend got that? Are you going to push a vote through to open those vault doors? Some of you may die, but you're going to survive. Really cool stuff. I can't recommend it enough. It plays really fast, plays really well. It's very intuitive. Once you've set it up and taught people, they get it, and it adds lots of lively discussion. And it sits really well alongside other games of this type. It just brings these enough cool new ideas and things to it that it's well worthy of a look. Now, what is Critters Below? Well, it's an idea of bunker survival with some furry old monkeys. No, not some furry old monkeys. God. Oh shit.